So I want to share this scenario with you because it could be something in your service-based business that you run into, or it could be something that you're hoping that happens. You get invited to an event and you find out at the event, your ideal clients are at the event, you share this talk, and then all of a sudden a whole host of people want to talk to you and want to learn about your services. Now, on first glance, this may seem like the most amazing thing to have happen, and it kind of sort of is, and I'd be happy for you if it did. But I also want to walk you through three critical things that you may not think about in that moment that you want to include when it comes to sales. So, if we've never met before, my name is Maya Haridat. I'm a business coach and speaker, and I help entrepreneurs uncover what they don't know that they don't know about running successful businesses. And this scenario that I'm sharing with you right now is a scenario that happened recently with one of my coaching clients in my Crush Your Sales program. I was so excited for her because you could just see her bubbling with joy and excitement and anticipation because she had just finished delivering a talk in front of her ideal audience. She did it virtually, but she knew that they were excited. And her inbox was flooded with people saying, "Oh my gosh, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. I want to work with you." But thank goodness, she has a person like me to be able to help her think about some of the decisions that she wants to make next. And I want to give you some of these for yourself to start thinking about in your own business. Because here's a big deal that I see very often when it comes to service-based providers, whether you're a coach, you provide services like graphic design or writing or something of that nature, or you're just really a mission-driven person trying to help people within your business, right? Like there's a lot of folks that fall into these categories. Here's the challenge for too many people. We are depending upon sales to be this thing that, like, because I do really, really good work, because I'm amazing, that people are just going to naturally be attracted to want to work with me. And, years ago, that actually did work. But y'all, in this current day and age right now where AI can do so many things, or here's one of the biggest caveats, people think the AI can do so many things, you actually have to position what you're selling in a completely different way. And I want to teach you three things to think about in that moment so that if you find yourself in that situation where your post has gone viral on social media or you're at an event and now you're inundated with people wanting to work with you, that you know how to think about this very moment in a way that's going to set your business up for sales success, because that's the little hidden secret that's in there. It feels like because all of these people are now trying to talk to you and they all want to email you or direct message you or get on your cell phone or whatever, that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a ton of sales. Not necessarily. They just might have liked you speaking. I've had that happen more times than I care to count. And I know plenty of others who run into that scenario. But the people that actually figure out how to make money from these types of events or from these moments, even, because if something like that happens on social media, is that really an event? Kind of, sort of, but let's play with it. You have to think through the steps and you have to think through the processes to make sure that you can leverage this in a way that your business is set up for success. All right. So let me give you three things to think about when you run into this situation. And then let me also give you this caveat. I use AI on a regular basis, and there's a lot of amazing technology that's out there nowadays that helps me run my business. But I do just want to give you this caveat. If you're not currently right now working with someone that can help you navigate some of these areas that you may never have been within your business, right? The first time that I started figuring out, like, okay, I want to bring in six figures, not by accident, I want it consistently in my business. I started seeking out others who I knew were six-figure or seven-figure earners to understand the formula of how they did it. It's not enough to just watch the YouTube videos. It's not enough to even go for their courses and for their events. You got to interact with them. And most importantly, you have to get into the weeds of what's going on within your business, how you show up, how your ideal customers show up, if you ever really want to be able to bridge that gap. And I think for a lot of people, a lot of folks like myself, Gen Xers, college educated, working in white collar professional careers, you were never taught how to do this. So what I'm about to share with you right now sounds really logical and wonderful and amazing. And of course it is, because I want to see you win. So I'm literally only giving you my best. But I'm also going to give you this really big recommendation. Okay? Get support on how it shows up in your business. If you're just starting out and you're like, I ain't got no money, I don't even know where to start, there are a lot of resources. There are a lot of government resources. If you're based in the US, for example, every region has a small business development center. Find the free one, Get the free technical assistance and coaching so that you can get this type of support you need for your business. If you've already gone past what that technical assistance can provide you on that free level, then invest some money, okay? And find someone that's going to help you, because this is the key. The AI is only going to answer the question based upon what you know. And what I'm going to share with you right now was me actually helping her unpack her scenario, unpack what actually happened, and apply it to her particular situation. And for that matter, there's certain things that I told her individually, actually it was in front of the entire group, that I am sharing with you today, because your situation might be different. And I don't want to give you advice that's going to steer you in the wrong direction. Okay. So it's really based upon you, and it's based upon your situation. And I want you all, if you're really looking at ways of being able to bring an income, if you're looking at ways of staying relevant during these times, and I firmly believe, hear me out, my Generation Xers, my millennials, those of us that were raised with that mentality of, I got to get a good job and go to a good school, and, I'm going to have, money coming in, and that ain't really showing up the way you wanted it to. And so you pivoted and you're trying to start either a side hustle, or you have a business on the side you've been running for years. For a lot of us, the sales part of the conversation is really part of the business model that really needs the tweaking and the support and the help. All right. So without further ado, let me dive in and give you the goods. Okay. So here's the first thing that I want you to look at. This is critical. This is probably worth you binging on all of my videos, because I know I give snippets of this in pretty much all of my videos. And the first one is what are your numbers? You need to know your numbers. That is point number one that I think is so critical. And here's what I mean by that. When you are in a business and you get the opportunity to speak, or you're at a networking event and you're talking to someone one-on-one, or you're sending out emails, or you're sending out things on social media, at all times, you need to know how many people you need in your business this month, this quarter, in order to meet your sales goals. And here's what happens. A lot of times I'll say that type of information to people kind of in general, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. And then they run into a situation like my client did, and she's invited to this event, and she's in a room, and there's like all these people, and then she gets all these emails, and she's all excited. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she literally I was watching her. She was on like a roller coaster throughout the whole time that she was telling me what was happening. You know why? And I'm going to say this with love, because it takes a little bit of training to do it. So I'm not even throwing her under the bus. I did the same thing myself when I first started doing this. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because you haven't grounded yourself in the fact that you're a CEO of your business. Your job is to bring the numbers in. And you can't let the crowd take you off your A game on what you need to sell that month. Because here's what I mean by that. Let's say scenario one, the bestest case scenario in the world, she talks to 100 people, 75 of those people show up in her DMs. That might be the biggest disaster in her entire business, because she can't onboard 75 people all at one time. And I know when you hear it, you're like, girl, I would sit up day and night and I would figure this one out for myself. I get it. I really do. But would those clients have the best experiences possible as you wanted to be able to support them with and help them? There is a way, by the way, if 75 people did reach out to you all at one time and you can only onboard 10, there is a solution for that. But I just want you to think about that. I want you to have clarity in your business. What is the capacity that you can manage at one time within your company to onboard new people within your company, to do the sales calls, to do the follow-up, to send out the proposals, the 2 or 3 phone calls, because sometimes you can't close someone just on one phone call, right? Or you can't close them on just one email. However it is that you're actually going to follow up with them afterwards, it might take several tries. And if you try to depend upon, I'm just going to hope that this crowd is my crowd and they're my people and all these people want me, you're setting yourself up for failure. Let me give you the other side of the scenario. Let's say 100 people show up, and let's say 2 people show up in the DMs afterwards, or after you email all the people, nobody wants to get on a phone call with you. Do you know how easy that is to be all the way up here because they loved hearing you speak? They were loving what you were saying. They were in the chat. The chat was flying and they're like, oh my God, I love you. You're amazing. What you're saying is perfect. I want to work with you. And then after the event ends, all you hear is crickets. Well, here's the deal. When you know in your business, when you know in your heart of hearts that you need to get X number of people, right, in your business this month, and that event didn't work, well, you just kind of dust your shoulders off a little bit, have a tear for a second, and you keep it moving on to the next event. I think far too often we turn sales into this emotional conversation rather than looking at the numbers around sales. And look, I'm not taking away from that moment, that high that you have of, oh my God, people love me. They love the content that I'm giving them. They love what it is I'm saying about the services that I offer. They're here for it. I'm not taking away any of that. That's important and that's wonderful. But what I am saying is get more grounded in your numbers for your business. Get more grounded in what you need to produce than the highs of the crowd. Because if everyone responds to you, that could be a problem. And if no one responds to you, that could be a problem if you're putting all of your energy into how they respond. You're the CEO. It's your job to set the tone for the business and set the response. And for the record, I am not saying this from some pie in the sky type of thing. I remember one of the events I did a few years ago, I spoke in front of my ideal client audience, right? Like these were my avatars in the audience. I actually got asked to stay even longer on the stage because we were doing a Q&A and they were like, oh my gosh, keep going, keep going. I was like, bet, let's do this. I had people in my inbox like you wouldn't believe. I did several discovery calls. I didn't close any clients. Now, I could have been having a bad season, as that happens to anybody, but I typically know my close rate. If I get you on a phone, I got a 1 in 5, a 1 in 3, a 1 in 4 chance, and sometimes in certain audiences, a 1 in 2 chance that I'm going to convince you that working together is something for us to be able to do. And I don't even want to use the word convince. We're going to see that the partnership is going to get you the goals that you want faster, and you're going to crush those revenue ceilings. I don't pressure anyone. I don't want to pressure anyone. All money is not good money. But I know usually when I get on a phone with someone, if we have a call and a conversation, there's a good shot I'm probably going to close them. I didn't get upset after that event. I really didn't. And I had a lot to be upset about because I had spent hours with conversations with people being able to kind of go through these discovery calls because they said they wanted to work with me. What I kept my eye on the prize the whole time was what I'm going to give you for number two. And then also understanding what my numbers were for my business for that month. All right, so this event didn't yield what it was that I wanted. And I know I did an amazing job in front of these people. They knew it and I knew it. We all knew it, that I could help them out. They didn't want what it was that I had to offer. No worries. I'm not even going to sweat it in that case. I'm going to move on and go right back to the numbers that I said that I needed to focus on for the month, and now go find another space and place to be able to speak at, to be able to do whatever marketing I need to do to get in front of more of my ideal client audience to be able to get them to be able to buy. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Don't get yourself frustrated, and don't get caught up in the emotional smoke around what happens when you do really good at an event. Know your numbers. Now, this leads me to number two. And number two is a really big one in the sales world, and I'm just going to say it out loud. If you don't have a follow-up sequence for the people that you reach out to, you leaving money on the table, child. I'm just going to say it the way I know it happens. And let me tell you why. In business, there's a lot of people that will buy from you right here, right now. Like there's that impulse buy, right? How many times do we go into the supermarket? A kid is there. There's candy at the cash register. We all know the drill. The kid wants the candy. Mom is exhausted at this point. The kid's exhausted at this point. Whatever keeps the kid quiet, a mom is going to purchase the candy, right? Because you're in the moment. Let's do it. The challenge is that for far too many businesses, we are not thinking about the follow-up process of how do we engage the person who doesn't buy the candy the first time. Now, that tired mom in that particular case might buy it the first time because she needs a solution right here, right now. But there may be 3, 4, 5, 6 other people that they also might want the candy as well too. And the real challenge is, how do you follow up? So here's the deal. Learning how to be able to sell, especially if you're selling a product that has a high ticket price, like if you're selling something that's a couple of $1,000s or even more, you've got to learn how to sell. And when you first get started doing this, and look, I'm gonna put it out there, I even actually know how to do these things, and I've done hundreds of these calls, and I still have to learn things about the sales process. All right, so I don't think it's something that you ever fully master. I'm a heck of a lot better than I used to be before, but I'm also not the world's greatest at this. Let's call it what it is. And I know several techniques about how to do sales calls in a way to help both of us get to that place where it's a good fit and we're going to close. You don't have to be a good closer, though, if you understand your job from day one is to ascertain if that person you're talking to is an ideal client or not. And then if they say no right here, right now, okay, I'm not going to invest any energy in trying to beat you over the head to be able to say yes. And I don't care how much you say you want the product or service that I'm offering. My job is to collect your information and put you on a follow-up list. And let me tell you about the follow-up list, y'all, because a lot of people don't pay attention to the follow-up list. And I am proud to say that I have seen the checks come in on numerous occasions from just the darn follow-up. Okay. I can't tell you how many times with my B2B world that I have met decision makers. I have met people that have access to grants or to different budgets. We connect, they meet me right now. And it's like, okay, that's great. That's great. And then they call me 6 months later, a year later, 3 years later. I had a contract a few years ago, right? One of these moments that it's such what I'm talking about. I hadn't spoken to the person in several years, y'all, but I had posted something on LinkedIn. She was following me on LinkedIn, right? And I think there was another touch point. I don't think she was on my newsletter, but there was some other touch point that I posted and I said some information about what was going on. She realized I was a person that could help her. She reached out to me and I wound up with a 3-year contract. You have to follow up. That's the critical thing that's missing from a lot of us is we look at the event itself. We say, okay, 20 people wanted to speak to me after the event. I scheduled 10 phone calls and only 2 people said yes to it. Notice the numbers of how I broke those numbers down. You should have your numbers like that. That's a bonus, by the way. You should have your numbers down pat like that also. 2 people said yes. What do you do with the other 8 people? Do you just discard them and forget about them? If you did, then you're leaving money on the table because here's what's going to happen. Those people eventually are going to buy that product or service from your competitor because you've now given them information and insight and education on how to make the decision, but it wasn't quite enough. Maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe there's just stuff going on in their life. They can't do it right now. Like there could be a whole host of reasons. But now when the right time is ready, can they find you easily? Well, if you're not following up with them, they can't. So I want to give you tip number 2. I don't care if you get 100 people in your DMs and then you make 100 phone calls. You ain't closing all of them. What are you doing with the rest of the people that you didn't speak to? How are you following up with them? How are you communicating about the wins you're having in your business? How are you communicating about things that you're learning about? You know, for example, right now, there's tools and resources that I might be able to give you based upon the different scenario that you have going on, right? And I can let you know, hey, I've been using this tool in my business and this is helping me out do X, Y, and Z. And you might be like, oh, I want to learn that tool. And then that becomes a win. So I want to give you the first one again, the second one, and then I'm going to give you the final tip about this viral moment or this moment when so many people want to work with you. The first one is know your numbers. The second one is be crystal clear about your follow-up plan. And then there's the third one that's a really sneaky one. And I've had this happen over the years where it looks really different from how all of my Crush Your Sales coaching clients work with this. There has to be a process for once someone says, yes, they're interested with you, that you take them through to manage the conversation from, yes, I think I want to talk to you, to yes, I'm ready to sign on the dotted line. Now, this all depends, of course, on how big your offer is. If it's something where someone's spending $99 or under, the process should be pretty easy. Like, here's the dotted line, sign up, get on my calendar, or whatever the thing is they're getting for the $99. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. And by the way, don't turn your nose down for the record on the $99 or the $199 offer. A lot of us right now, we need tons of money because, you know, the expenses are what they are right now. And we're like, I need more of it. But if you've never built a sales process, I recommend pick the simplest, stupidest number you can possibly find. And yes, I said simplest, stupidest number that when you say it, you don't have any anxiety over. Okay. For a lot of entrepreneurs, you might be worth a 5-figure, a 6-figure contract. I'm not doubting that you're worth that, but if you don't know how to sell it, it's not going to really work well. And look, I spoke with the client, my coaching client from Crush Your Sales about this. And she was like, well, I have this process where I'm going to put them in the AI and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. Notice I didn't tell you what she said she was going to do. And then I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do this. And I was like, problem with this, 1, problem with that, 2. As she's telling me what her process is, I'm knocking down why each one of those things are going to lead her into some challenging areas. However, there were some really genius things that she had in her process that I gave her a huge thumbs up on, that we drilled down how she could focus on setting that up better. And so what does the process actually mean? Well, think about it like this. If you go on a vacation, right? And even if you say, hey, I want to travel to Mexico. I want to travel to Japan. I want to travel to South Africa. There is probably a process that you're going to have to go through, from figuring out where you're going to go, sending in the money, putting down the deposit rather, checking that you've got your visas, checking that you got your shots, depending upon where you may be traveling. Like, there's a whole bunch of steps that you have to think through before you're able to get on that plane and go to wherever that location is. I want you to sit down with your current sales process and outline everything. Where are you losing contact with people? What parts could you automate within that process? What parts should you not be automating in that process? Okay. For a lot of you right now, if you're first just getting started, and for that matter, even if you've been doing it for a while, you want to be hearing the objections from people. You don't want to let people just drop. I'm working with a client right now, and we're creating this tech tool, and people are supposed to connect with organizations after they complete all their initial onboarding steps. And we were getting a bunch of people and they weren't connecting. We're like, why are they not connecting? So we asked them, what's the reason why you're not connecting? And we gave them a couple of drop downs as to asking them why they wouldn't connect. That matters. After we got back 20, 30, 50, 60 people, we started to see the trend of why people wouldn't connect. And then we could build something into the process to get them to that end goal. So recognize that the sales conversation to get the person to say yes in the first place is one part. But in your business, you've got to have a sales process. And I know there's tools out there like Dubsado, Honeybook. Some of you probably have some really smart things set up. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. It's not ClickUp. Of course, I'm blanking on the name of the tool right now. That's the one that a lot of folks use. It'll come to me later. Anyhow, there's a lot of really cool tech tools that are out there that people use in order to be able to set up their systems. Airtable. And I'm here for those types of systems, right? I'm here for all of that ways of being able to automate. But I also just want to encourage you in the beginning, do some of it messy, outline it the best way that you possibly can, and then pay attention to where the gaps are showing up. Before you get ready to try to optimize it and look pretty and make it all like work really, really well, why is that happening there? Why is the person falling off there? Why are they saying no here? What happens even when the person says yes and then they send their deposit and then they won't follow up with you after that to schedule the call? Like, what's that about? You've got to kind of keep your eye on that whole process to fully understand what is moving and driving who your customers are and why they're doing what they're doing. And listen, the better you get at the sales process, by the way, the better you're going to have in terms of closing sales. I watched this happen probably about 2 years ago now, the last time I went to the car dealership to be able to get a car. I told the car salesperson, right? I was like, look, I just want this. This is what I was looking for. And at the time, and it still is pretty much the same, I don't need all the bells and the whistles in the car. I just want this in the car. That's it. Don't try to upsell me. Don't try to whatever. Just give me the number of what this is going to cost once I figure out all of these factors, because I was very much determined around the numbers. Now, he tried at one point to upsell. He tried to kind of do that, whatever. And then he went right through to, once he got where I was going with this, where I was like, look, this is not working for me. I just need to know X, Y, and Z, because I really just wanted the baseline model. I didn't want the fancy model. I didn't want all the bells and whistles. Just get me the baseline model and give me the numbers. There were a few different features that I did want. Give me the numbers on what those things were going to cost. Once he got through to that, once he understood rather like where I was coming from, he went to his sales process. And then he just started banging things out, which is what I wanted. I wanted to spend as little time as possible with the back and forth. I already knew what I wanted, and I knew that this dealer had it at the price that I wanted it at, right? Give me the process. Stick to the process, because if you have a process for how you're getting people from, yes, they're interested, into now they're like working with you, they're paying you money regularly, you're providing the service, you have all of the things, you're going to have a lot more success with this. Okay. So I hope that this video gave you some ideas. And listen, I want to close this out by really sharing something that is, I don't know who you are, so I'm just going to take some assumptions here. If you're an underestimated entrepreneur like how I am, I want to also share with you that sales is a very, very interesting conversation when you start digging into money and how you handle money. And I will say this, that you could work with a lot of people around how to improve your sales process. But if you don't really get underneath the surface around your money and your money story and how it shows up for you and people like you, first generation, for example, raised in a single parent household versus raised with two parents in your household, raised in the suburbs versus raised in the city. What generation are you? Like, there's a whole host of factors that play into, what do you practice a traditional faith, for example, right? Like, whatever those particular things are, I want you to really, really get honest with yourself about it and really do some work around your money story. Because the more you understand money and your money story, the easier a time you're going to have with dealing with those three things: knowing your numbers, doing the follow up, and then also being clear about what your sales process is. And that, my friends, is what's going to lead you to more money and more sales. So listen, I hope this video helped you out. I hope you were jotting down and taking some notes about things so that you can follow up with afterwards. The final takeaway that I'll give you is take some action from this video. Don't watch the video and be like, oh my God, that was so great, and click, you're on to the next one. All right. Pause this video at the end, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and go for it and take action on one of these steps that I mentioned here today so that you can start seeing more money coming into your business, because you don't even need to wait for a viral moment, my friend. You could probably do one of these three steps in your business right now. All right. Have an amazing one.